All right, everyone. It looks like we're already live here, so it wasn't really working properly, but I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. We're doing something a little bit new tonight. We've got, in addition to having our Patreon supporters over on our Zoom session, we also have Periscope for the very first time tonight. So we'll try that and see how that works. And also Instagram Live as well. So just trying to expand our reach a little bit here, play around with something a little bit different. So for everybody who's on, thank you for joining the Scanner School live Q&A session. So what we'll ask you to do is, as you're watching, just post your questions or comments in the fields below. So hopefully you guys can hear me. So give me a thumbs up. At least let me know that you're able to hear me and see me and everything else. Let me come over here and also change my view. It's always busy juggling things around when I'm setting these things up. So we're going to double click on this and hit transition. And let's see. Great. We got some chats coming in here now. And I see Ray kicking in. Kevin's Wiki's in as well. Ray again. Jay Mart, thumbs up from Periscope. Jay Mart, you're the first one in from Twitter Periscope. Gavin got you in as well. Gavin, how you doing? Thanks again for your unication purchase. Carlos is in. Dave is in. Ray got you in as well. So again, you just leave me your questions and we'll answer them as fast as we can. Normally we're here for half an hour on the first Tuesday of every month, and again, answering your questions. And after this, we go on to our Patreon. So I'm looking at the chat box on this side, looking over here, and I'm just hoping everything is in sync. So also, if you guys are over in Zoom, again, I can't hear you over on Zoom, but I can see the chat box. So I'm going to exit minimize window here. And where's my chat box on Zoom? So I can see you guys. There we go. Chat box on Zoom. So again, if you need me on Zoom, just give me a heads up. And now over on Zoom, I got Guy, got Brian, got Jim, and we got Chris. And we got Paul. We got a full house in there tonight. How you guys doing? Thanks again for joining. All right, so let's go ahead and go through some questions that are coming in. So Ken is asking, what do I think of ProScan? ProScan's great. I actually love ProScan. I know on the podcast I push Butel software. I like using Butel software for programming. I think I'm more comfortable and more at home using Butel software when it comes to that. I love the way that it's laid out. I like how it's got the like the Excel feel to it or the spreadsheet feel to it. But I use ProScan on my scanners when I'm not using Butel. And the reason why is because I use ProScan to feed live audio to my own website and also to Broadcastify. I am running 4 live feeds right now using ProScan. I also use ProScan to run a special feed. So if I am using, say, like I have a feed for an air show or a feed for, I didn't do it this year, but I would do like the Times Square feed for New Year's or something like that. So I would use ProScan for that. I always use ProScan to record and to log as well. So ProScan is a really good Swiss Army knife when it comes to what you can do with an application. And it works really well. I also use ProScan also to record audio and also to timestamp when I record the audio. It actually gives me a frequency name or an alias for the name and description and stuff like that. So if I want to record audio for tones and stuff like that, it creates a brand new folder for every year, every month, and every day, and then every hour. So I can keep all of my files very well organized when I am going through that as well. So again, I use Butel for programming, and I use ProScan for everything else, except when it comes to like the 780. I use ProScan to program up my 780s as well. Okay, what else we got here as well? Les got you in. Kevin, AT&T. Ray is saying, what is the best way to set up a scanner for rail fanning? Really good question, Ray. And you know who would be really good at answering that one is the scanner guys, because they also run the was it Rail Aficionado or something like that? and that's the Scanner guys are on YouTube on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. And they have a once a month thing on Mondays, I think the first Monday of the month, where they just talk about rail fanning. And to me personally, the way I set up my scanners for railing is basically I've got one set up here for the Long Island Railroad. Then I have a bank for the regional freight that kind of leases lines from the Long Island Railroad. And then I also have like a bank for the MTA, which is the Metropolitan Transportation Authority, MTA PD in their trunk system. After that, I've got a bank set up for the AARs, which again has got a lot of duplicate of what's already in my Long Island Railroad bank because they pull out of the same frequency pool, right? It's the same set of lists. So it's I think everything's gonna be set up a little bit differently. But that's how I have my scanner set. And I don't really go out and do any rail fanning. It's not this area here. It's Long Island, right? It's more urbanized than a lot of areas. So we don't have the Amtrak lines that come through or the freight rails that come through. I mean, the freight only comes through here once a day, and it's at the middle of the night. So we don't have as much activity or as much to listen to, except for just the rail, Long Island Railroad saying, hey, we're on time, or we're going to be a couple minutes late, or, God forbid somebody's on the track or something like that. So there's not really too much to listen to on there. Jim is saying over in the Zoom chat that it's Jonathan Higgins who runs the Rail Talk. Yep. So I'm not sure if Rich does that as well, but yeah, I definitely know that Jonathan runs the Rail Aficionados website, and he's really big into rail fanning. As far as radios go, you could use something as very simple as the SR30C. Truthfully, I would upgrade, though, from that radio over to, I don't have it handy here, the 125 AT. I have it somewhere, but it looks exactly the same. No, that's a 325 P2, but it's somewhere here. But anyway, and the reason why I would upgrade from the SR30C to the 125 AT is because you get PL codes and you get alpha tagging, and I think you get a little bit more memory if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, that's where I would go with that. So I'll be drinking a lot of water tonight, guys. I got a little bit of a itch in my throat, so I'll cheers. I'm trying to keep the voice from going hoarse on you guys. All right. Christina's in as well, and what else we got here? J Mart. What outdoor antenna would I recommend for the BCD 436 HP? So that's a good question, because normally we would say a disc cone antenna works really well on all the bands you want to listen to. The issue when it comes to the BCD 436 HP is it doesn't play too well in simulcast environments on P25. So if that's not a concern for you, then you don't have to worry about it too much, right? You don't have to worry about what you're picking in. But if you're looking at something like an area with simulcast, you probably don't want to even use an outdoor antenna. You just want to use the antenna you've got on top of your scanner if it's coming in well enough for you. You may need to use a Yagi antenna or something like that. So, excuse me. So, yeah, your money's going to vary on that one. But for most scanner use, you're looking for a disc cone. I recommend the Diamond D130NJ, I believe is what the model number is. I've used the Radio Shack ones as well. I think Tram makes a good antenna as well. Of course, Diamond also. Yeah, I just said Diamond, but that's where I would go for as well in that one. All right. Bob is saying I'm freezing quite a bit. I know, Bob, you're on YouTube. You may want to check out YouTube. Let's see below, too, that James is saying that YouTube is working pretty well. All right, let's see what else. Kevin is saying, is it hard to import from Radio Reference using either ProScanner or Butel versus using Sentinel where the database is right there? So, yeah, it's a little bit of a different animal. Sentinel is built to be easy to use a little bit. It's a lot easier to import from Sentinel from Radio Reference. It's not too impossible to do it from Butel. And again, Butel and ProScan, if you're comfortable using Butel and ProScan to program your other radios and use the Radio Reference import, then you'll be right at home using Butel or ProScan for Radio Reference import on your Home Patrol versions or flavors of scanners. Truthfully, the way that I do things when it comes to my Home Patrol scanners is I'll use Sentinel to create my favorites list, and I'll use Sentinel to get things staged and set up how I want them as far as frequencies and scan lists and talk groups and stuff like that. I'll then write to the scanner, and then I'll open up Arc Patrol, and then I'll read the scanner back into Butel. And this allows me to get a copy of what's going on in the scanner in the Butel software. And then from within Butel, then I make all my massive changes. So if I want to take, say, every talk group in a favorites list that's police and make that all a red LED, that's the fastest way for me to do it, is to do it in Butel software that way, because you can just fill all the way down. Same holds true with justifying alpha tags and stuff like that. So if I'm going to do, all my cleanup is all done in Butel software. And again, all the cleanup can be done just as easy in ProScan as well. But again, I use Butel for my programming primarily, except in the home patrols where I do use Sentinel to do my programming. But again, all my programming cleanup and all the pretty stuff and the bells and whistles, that is all done in Butel software. Okay, so let's see what else we got here yesterday. Dave is hoping that he hopes the police don't go in the dark, which I guess would mean encryption. So if you guys had watched last week's, I did a crash course. So it was the my 2021 Scanner Radio crash course. Again, you can catch a replay on the YouTube channel or by going to scannerschool.com/crash course, all one word. I said something about encryption. I'm going to echo those remarks here. So what I think about encryption, again, I'm just checking over here just to see how things are looking. I'm curious to see how this is coming through Periscope. I've never actually used Periscope, and even looking here on Twitter, I don't see any announcements. So I'm kind of curious if anybody's watching on Periscope how you found me. But here's what I think about encryption, and here's what I equate it to: is if your favorite TV show goes off the air, does that mean it's time to throw out your television because there's nothing to watch? No, you find something new to watch on TV, right? If your favorite band decides they're going to break up or they're going to retire, right? We all have bands, they'll come back in 20 years, right, to We're Not Dead Yet tours or something like that because they need more money. But if your favorite band decides they're going to stop recording, does that mean there's no more music to listen to? Or if your favorite publication decides they're going to cease printing, does that mean there's no magazines left to read? No, right? You find something else to read. You find other music to listen to. You find something else to watch on TV. The same would hold true in your scanner, right? We just have the same mentality. That means if the police department goes encrypted, that doesn't mean there's nothing left to listen to. Yes, your favorite thing to listen to might be away from you, but we always say, and I said it with in Chris's podcast session at session 143, is the secrets are in the searches, right? That's where you find a lot of stuff. In fact, I just did a tutoring session this past weekend, and I was showing somebody how to use DSD Plus, and one of the questions that came up was, how do you find things? So we went through the spectrum scope, and we just started clicking on all the spikes. And we started to discover really fast that a lot of the systems that were in his county that were in radio reference as analog systems were actually now DMR systems. So again, we were searching these things out and finding things, and in a matter of minutes, discovering that things had to be updated in radio reference. So it's very cool to see that, you know, there's other things out there, and if you can dip your toe in the water and find things out and learn how to use an SDR, that makes things very clear as well. And if you want to learn more about SDRs, our next webinar is all about an SDR, how to use one, and why you should actually be considering adding SDRs into your scanner radio arsenal. So you can sign up for that at scannerschool.com/webinar. And of course, that's going to be the URL going forward for all of our webinars. So again, scannerschool.com/webinar. It's a free registration. You can go there. And I believe the date is February 23rd. So last Tuesday of the month is when we will be hosting our SDR webinar. All right, let's see where else we've got here. So let's see. Racing is a big suit with lots to hear, I guess, when it comes to railing. Tim is saying, thank you for the content and everything you do for the scanning community. Tim, it's my pleasure. Thank you for listening and watching. And make sure you share, too. Make sure that on YouTube, thumbs up always helps. That helps get our content out there. And if you like what we're doing, just please share it. That's all I ask in return. What else we got here? Christina is saying, I wish I could have a roof antenna. I only pick up about 2 fire departments in the clear. The rest are all fuzzy. Yeah, Christina, a lot of what you could do to get around that too as well is if you can put something with a little bit of gain. I think you have attic space or you're unable to put things outside of your homeowners association like that. Something to look at too is if you go to a website like hamradio.com, Gigaparts, or I forget some other ones that are out there. But if you look at antennas like the Diamond X50, the Diamond X50 antenna is it's about a 4 foot tall dipole antenna, which means it's just a vertical antenna, and it's small enough where it can kind of fit in tight spaces, and it does give you some gain on VHF and UHF. It's not going to work really that great on low band, and it probably won't work great for you at all on 800, but it will work better than a disc cone. It'll work better than what you got on top of your scanner. And to be honest with you, I mounted one just to the roof, the vent stack on my house because I figured it's a low profile antenna. The wind loading on it is minimal, and I just clamped it right to the cast iron vent pipe on my house. And again, it's even big enough where you can just hide away in a closet or something like that as well. So that's something that you can look at. And again, I have in the books here ideas of a podcast what we could do for an HOA. And I'd like to talk to somebody who has to deal with an HOA so I can get a better understanding. All right. Yeah, Christina's also saying at least PD is awesome because it's all trunked. Yeah, out in Suffolk County, all your PD's trunked. So as long as you can pick up the trunk system, you're good to go. Tim is saying, is there any other frequency database besides Radio Reference that I would recommend? Yes, it depends what you want to listen to, Tim. So if you're into federal scanning, Chris Paris has a really great website. It's the Fed Files, and I'm sure if he's listening, he'll post the link so I can share it with you guys. But just Google the Fed Files. You'll find frequencies that Chris has a huge database in that one. If you're into cruise shipping, there's a website just dedicated to cruises. If you look around, even on the Radio Reference in the wiki, you're going to find a lot of frequencies in there, especially for rail fanning and coast guards and stuff like that. And again, this is a great segue into March's webinar, where we're going to talk about how to build your own scanner radio website. And again, this is one of the key points as to why you'd want to build your own scanner radio website, because you can start collecting your own database. And there he goes. There's Chris. So I'm going to take Chris's content from the Zoom session and paste it over here into everybody else's session as well. So it's really cool to build your own scanner website. I have my own scanner radio website for Long Island. I've got over 10,000 registered users. I have a couple of outdated databases, but I could also bring in radio reference databases. I can bring in Broadcastify feeds. I can host my own feeds. It's my sandbox. It's my rules, and I can do whatever I want on there. And that's what makes having your own scanner radio website really, really good. Let's see what else we got here as well. I think all of a sudden now my chat box went out of order because I am looking for Tim's message. There it is. And but yeah, that's what I recommend, Tim. And again, there's some other good. Even Scan New England has got a good resource up there as well. If you're on Long Island, I got my website, which is w2lie.net. There's other resources, the FCC website. And even there's a new one called FCC Updates, which is good too, because this guy crawls the FCC website every week and posts new updates as well. I think that one is fccupdates.com, if I'm not mistaken. Jay Mart is also saying very clear in Periscope. Just curious, Jay, how you found me? If it was a announcement on Twitter that led you my way, or something like that. So, because I have never done Periscope. I do enjoy Twitter a lot. So, oh, here it is. I actually see it right now. It shows that I'm actually live on Twitter. Really cool. Never actually done that. Curious to see how I look on Instagram. I don't know if that's even working or not, but it says it's there. So I don't know how that's working, but pretty cool. Yeah, added those into the mix tonight just to see how it would work. And glad, Jay, that you found us and you're able to do that. Bob is saying YouTube is better. There's no freezing over there. Curtis, good evening, Curtis. Tom, how you doing? Tom, are you still down in Florida, I guess? Good to see you on there if it's the right Tom O'Boyle. It's been a while. Michael's saying mag mount on top of a fridge or even a pizza pan. Yes. And that's the key right here, right? If you're going to take a mag mount antenna, you're going to need to put it on something metallic, something that's magnetic. And the reason for that is you need to create the second half or the mirror of that dipole antenna. The antenna, the physical antenna itself, is only the top half. And what you have to do is by putting it on a piece of metal, you're actually creating the mirror in the bottom half of the antenna. And that's where the full length or the full wavelength of the antenna is actually coming in. So again, if it's a half wave or quarter wave antenna, right, the full half wave or full quarter wave is based around having that mirrored part of the antenna. So again, anything magnetic. So you could be a cake pan or a cooling pan or an air conditioner or the top of the refrigerator. Anything like that would work fine for you. Good point there, Michael. I really appreciate you that. Davis just posted in as well, the Fed Files website as well. And Thomas is saying he's coming back to New York. So, you're back in New York already. Oh, pretty cool. Didn't know you were back in town. So, very good. Very good to have you back here. And maybe I'll catch you on the repeaters one of these days. So I got to get that thing all set up over here as well. All right. We are really quickly now at the bottom of our comments. I'm going to go over here to Zoom, and I see Jim is asking, what type of repair services do Unication offer if we run into trouble? Good question. So let me turn my hat around here because I am now being Mr. Unication dealer. So again, I do run East Coast pages. Again, the hair's a mess, which is why we have the hat on tonight. I am a Unication dealer. I do run eastcoastpagers.com, and the warranty on a Unication product is awesome. And here's the process. Whether or not I am your dealer or not, you can always come to me for help. You can go to eastcoastpagers.com/repairs and fill out the form. What happens there is we'll collect basic information from you, such as your email address, your contact information, right? How we can get in touch with you, how a pager can get returned to you. And then what's wrong with the pager. And we submit that information. Basically, we just take that whole form and we have to put it in one field at a time in Unication's website. And once Unication approves of the repair, which is pretty much the next day or same day, depending what time we submit it, you'll then take the pager and return it to Unication in Kentucky for repair. Unication will diagnose the problem, and if they've got parts on hand, they'll repair the pager. If there's no parts on hand, you'll wait a little bit of time for the parts. And we're saying like a week or two. It's nothing really that crazy. And they will pay to have the pager mailed back to you. Just recently, I had a customer of mine up in Canada, and he had a problem with a pager and paid to have it sent down to Kentucky here in the States. Unication paid to have it sent back over the border to Canada. So I don't know if there was any import fees associated with that, but Unication did handle an out-of-country warranty just as well as they would have handled a in-country warranty. So the process is really good, and they are really good on repairs. All right, so let's take a look too over here on the Zoom chat because this one is actually getting pretty active. And I forgot about that, Paul. Thanks for reminding us. The Capitol Hill Monitor has an awesome list of frequencies as well for the DC area. He says, I'm going to take that and I'm going to paste that over in the, whoops, that didn't copy for some reason. Let's try this again. Copy twice and 3 times because it's always good to, there we go. So, if you look at henny.com/CHM, it's the Capitol Hills Monitor. It's a really great scanner, Radio Club. I know a couple guys personally who are in there, and they've got nothing but great things to say about that club. So, it's a good site as well. Let's see what else we got going on over here. Carmen is saying, have I ever used a rat tail antenna counterposed with a handheld scanner? Would it be worth the effort? I've been playing around with a small Smiley Duck antenna cut for 160 for rail fanning. So I think that's one of those things that your money's going to vary on. I've never personally played around with one, but I know a lot of guys that would. And even when it came to low band, you would use one of those. So if anybody's not in the know of what a rat tail is or something like that, that's basically when you would take your antenna or you take your scanner. And what you do is you take the antenna off and you put a piece of wire down here, and you then push the antenna back on. So the wire is kind of pinched in there, and it hangs down off of the bottom of the scanner. And it becomes basically just a longer counterpose of your scanner. And it does. It basically increases your scanner. It gives you a radial, which can improve your reception. So it's something that could help. Again, I've done stuff like that though on my vehicle when I had to tie to ground, and it's kind of the same idea but a little bit different. So that's in there. Tim asking, when can I call you? Left a message before Christmas. Live in Arizona. Tim, you can leave me a message on our hotline if you want, but if you want to talk to me about something, I'm open for tutoring, or you can email me. Email me, phil@scannerschool.com. If you want to book some time with me, you can go to scannerschool.com/tutoring. That's where we can go through some questions and help you out that way. Or I do answer voicemails also I get, and the number for that I'll put in the chat. It's 516-308, and hopefully nobody spams me, 2885. So that's the Scanner School Ask Hotline. We'll call it that. And then you can also go to scannerschool.com/ask and also scannerschool.com/tutoring. And while I'm in here, popping links in here, again, we got scannerschool.com/webinar. That's our latest webinar for next month. And again, that's going to be all about software to find radios and how to do that. And of course, last month's is over at scannerschool.com/crash course. Let's see what we got here. Matt is in from Ohio. Good to see you in, Matt. J. Mar is saying, do you recommend buying antennas on Amazon? Do you recommend any DIY Yagi? I know a lot of guys are building this tape measure Yagi antenna. That seems pretty cool. Basically, what you do is you take retractable tape measure, and you can cut them and create elements out of that, and you screw basically into a wooden boom. And that's always a cool DIY Yagi kit that you can try and do. Let's see what else we got here that's popping in. So yeah, that would be a good one. Carol is saying, I have a Uniden SDS 200 desktop that I'm looking for an antenna that I can put on my scanner to bring in better frequencies. I don't want one on my house. Do I have any ideas? Thank you so much. So what you can do, Carol, is you can always hide an antenna in a closet. I don't know if you're in a basement or a ground floor or something like that, but Scanner Master's got a Spectrum Force antenna. It's a mag mount antenna, and of course you can always mag mount antenna. You can always put that on top of your SDS 200. Those work really well. They're about $20. Whistler is also making home antennas that can go on top of a desktop or something like that too. So they got some crazy stuff over there at Whistler. WhistlerGroup.com. Again, Whistler antennas. The antennas, same company that makes TRX 1s and TRX 2s. So that would be something that as well. Again, putting an antenna up in an attic space would be a great thing to do. I've done that, and a lot of people with HOA issues also put antennas in attic spaces. Thomas, no HRU this year. Not this year, Thomas. What happened was because things with the pandemic, they went to a Zoom only, and they had to cut a couple of the forums. So mine was one of the ones that got the cut, which is fine. I actually enjoyed having the year off. It gave me an opportunity to work on the slides for the webinar, so it worked out in the end anyway. Let's see, Christina, any place you can get an X50 for less than $100 and any used website, not on eBay? Christina, no, about $100 is the actual going price of one of those antennas, and it's well worth it. I think I paid about $95 or $99 for mine, and that was years ago. I think somebody also asked about buying antennas off of Amazon, I think. But, yeah, as long as it's a quality name brand antenna like Diamond, Comet, you should be okay buying off of Amazon. Let's see. Chris is saying, I ordered an 800 megahertz antenna today for my 436 from the Governor guys. Okay, I haven't heard of them, but I'm sure that they're a reputable company. Sounds good. Oh, wait. Nate saying, did not know Unication is in Kentucky. Their repair facility, Nate, is in Kentucky. Their actual USA headquarters is in Arlington, Texas. Denise is saying, hey, Phil, got the Whistler WMM 860 delivered and set up today. It definitely helps out reception. Great tutoring session. Thanks again. Yes, Denise and I did a tutoring session last night. So thank you, Denise, for doing that and spending time. I'm glad we got you set up on your UDIT and SDS 200. Gigi is saying hi from Michigan. Carol saying, awesome, thank you so much. And Tom is saying, Tom, deserved, time well deserved. So we are at the bottom of the list over here. So let me do this. Want to thank everybody for joining us over here on Facebook and YouTube. And Ken is saying about the ferret antenna, please. I've got the Austin ferret on my house, and I cannot wait to get it off. In fact, I've got 2 of them. I got one in storage, and I really want to cut one open and just dissect it and see what's going on there. It's just a bunch of mini dipoles in there, but my ferret does not work well for me at all. I've actually heard the same people say the same thing. Either it works really well or it does not work at all. And the ferret for me is just not doing it. So it's gonna get swapped out. So Carol saying, I don't know if I have a screw on the back of it on my scanner. How would I screw a car antenna into my scanner? So you've probably got a different setup on there. You'd have to get an adapter, Carol. The back of the antenna on the UDIT in is a BNC adapter. So that's what we're looking for on that one. All right, let me just swap over to here, and I'm going to click here and transition because we're at the bottom of the hour over here now. You like to spend at least a half an hour with you guys over here on Facebook and now YouTube. And then we brought in Periscope tonight and Instagram. If I don't know if everybody's watching Instagram. But I want to thank everybody who joined us tonight. And also, again, our Patreon supporters, for everybody who helps supports us over on Patreon. Again, our $5 Patreon supporters, hold on the line, stay on Zoom, because as soon as we're done over here, we're going to go over to hang out with you guys. And I do see, Kevin, you've got a question there. We're going to address that right away as soon as we jump over to there. So again, next week's podcast episode is really good. I doesn't say they're not all really good, but we got a really cool one for next week. Don't forget to check out our next webinar, which is all about software-defined radios. And I think it's going to be a really cool one because I actually did a tutoring session with somebody this past weekend about software-defined radios. And it's so much fun to play around with those things. So with that, everybody over here on all the social media platforms, I want to say thanks again. Again, we'll do this again next month. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you're watching us. Either it's on YouTube or on Periscope or Instagram or Facebook. Again, thumbs up helps us get found. Subscribe to our channel. Share it with everybody. And thank you all for joining us and spending time this evening. And we will catch you all again. Same time next month on the first Tuesday. 73 everyone.